getting some light here.
Hello, welcome to Fireside Chat. My name is Sue, and I'm so thrilled to welcome my very honored guest, filmmaker and unbelievably modest person, Mark Anthony Ramitt. What a pleasure. Welcome to the show. Thank you, Mark, for being with us today.
Oh, thanks, Sue. Thanks for that intro. And yeah, that's an honest intro about me, actually.
Thank you. It's been really nice just getting to know you a little bit. I'm so glad that we connected on LinkedIn, and we've just been
Yeah.
just hey, let's get together and talk. And it's just what a pleasure to talk to you. You're so down to earth, but you have a vision, man. You have a vision, and I'm so thrilled for you that you're putting it into the world. So please tell me how you came to this path, and because it's there's a lot of people who have a movie in them, but like it's another thing to make one, right?
Right. Yeah, totally. And first of all, I just want to thank you for this opportunity, this platform that you're providing to me.
Thank you.
And in a way, it's what we do as independent filmmakers. We market ourselves
Yes.
in the way that we are in technology right now. Yeah, I always was an artist growing up, but it was mostly like visual and
Hmm.
with like hand drawn, like freehand drawings all the
Amazing.
time.
Did you take
Um,
pictures? Did you ever get into photography a little bit just for fun, even?
no, I never got into that, because I wasn't so much into the stills. I was into the motions. So the motion photography, the motion pictures, and that's where
Awesome.
I wanted to be. And so
That's
I had some formal training in a Toronto film school, just to
wow.
yeah, just to find out if this is for me or not, and if I
Right.
could survive. Well, I mean, the industry has changed so drastically. It has
Absolutely.
here in Canada. I find it a lot more difficult to really make your
Get a
way.
footing and
Or
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So, anyways, I'm based in Waterloo, Ontario. Um, I don't know how I didn't get into that BlackBerry film that they just made. That was- I should have
Who
been a
do we
part of
have to
that because
call? Like it's like who's doing
yeah,
that?
that's right. And Jay,
Yeah.
what's that? Yeah. Anyways,
But your time is coming, though. Like I love that you are already putting things out into the world and submitting to film festivals, and you have been, right? You have been submitting.
totally. For 8 years, I've been doing this, and
Amazing.
it started out. It really started out not as a hobby. I mean, I really kind of
Like you
focused and wanted
actually,
to.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I did it self-financed at first, which is, if I, in retrospect, I didn't mind that doing that. I can't afford to do that right now, especially with the economy
It's
the way it is here in Canada.
yes, everything's so much money.
And
Fast food is so expensive, like Canada. Like, oh my God, right?
yeah, we were talking about that earlier for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fundings that the funding bodies that provide um, money to independent filmmakers, it's just too cutthroat. It's just too few and far between. And I've applied to several funding, and
Okay.
telefilm is the big one. But there's also the Canada Council for the Arts. I've applied to those numerous
Okay.
times. But
Wow.
the submissions that they receive every time, it's just insurmountable. And your odds are so against you when you're going up against all these other creatives that
But
want
that's why they
money.
exist, right? Is to give everybody a shot, right?
Yeah,
Like
they
it's
do.
too
But
bad that
then
it's
yeah, I mean,
difficult,
the whoever the assessors are for these grants, they look at projects that are, I don't know what they're looking at specifically.
Right.
I'm not one. I hope I'm not going to raise anybody's ire here as far as like patriotic Canadians, but I'm
No.
not one for CanCon. I'm not one for Canadian content.
Yeah.
I just want to make
Just
films that
content.
content and films that are universal with universal themes, so that
Yes.
anybody in another continent or country can appreciate it. You know what it is for me in
Absolutely.
my films? It's all about empathy. Can these
Perfect.
characters elicit empathy that the viewing audience can really
Mhm.
relate to and really
Mhm.
I don't know, not really grow, but I mean, can they, yeah, don't definitely relate to them, and can they
Right.
find something within their own personal life that
Mhm.
they can connect with?
Right,
And so
like a
that's what, yeah,
meaningfulness, right? That they can be like, "Oh, that was me at that stage. I know exactly what that feels like. Like I feel
yeah,
heard, I feel seen," right? Because you're celebrating. Like in a
yeah,
way, people
totally.
that aren't like completely getting all the attention in the world. It might be like the people who don't like, you know, walk into a room and they're immediately comfortable. No, right? Like
Yeah, and that's where my protagonists, I write all my films, so my protagonists are always
excellent.
these single guys, and kind of like
You're like,
you
ah,
know,
should I go in there?
un,
Like, like you just sort of
yeah, but also unlucky in
totally.
love, and so
Yes.
a lot of these protagonists are. I'm trying to kind of sway into more into female centric kind of films because
Yes.
I think the male perspective is okay, but it's too limited and audiences nowadays.
I think
I
there's a
think
good
I
it's a
think
good plan.
yeah, but I think women still I think women are probably I like how they're intuitive in their emotions and also as audience members. I think
Mm,
if you don't get that women quotient in your audiences or your viewers, I think you've kind of lost more than half of your potential viewing
your
audience for your
potential.
films.
Yeah.
So I really want so my this film, even though this is an anthology called Four Singles that's just being released this year, even though it deals with all the protagonists are males. Yeah,
Excellent.
that's it. There's the title for
Amazing.
it, and that's my banner, Ramit Pictures. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, even though they're all male centric stories with these singles, but what I really wanted to drive home with all of these, there's four separate stories within this anthology feature, is it talks about loneliness and it talks about
Right.
social isolation and acceptance and rejection, which everybody on
Oh
every
God.
human on the face of the
Yes.
earth, deals with
Yes.
those at one time or another,
It can
or
be crushing. It
constantly.
can it can change the trajectory of your life. Like you could have a whole different life because of like something that happens to you, right?
Yeah, totally. So like, I mean, I'm just taking it from my perspective, from my experiences,
Right.
but I'm also trying to factor in some kind of fictional kind of
Hmm.
fictional stories, but through the visuals, through the filmmaking, I'm trying to fictionalize it so that you know anybody who comes to watching a film, it's not just like a talking head. It's not
Right.
like a documentary. It's not a documentary at all. It's a story with a protagonist who has a specific goal,
Hmm.
and they're trying to either attain that goal or they in the end they don't attain it or something happens to them that kind of skews their whole perspective on
Hmm.
life, or on seeking love or seeking acceptance.
Acceptance. Yeah. Feeling like you belong is so
Exactly,
fundamental, right?
exactly.
Can I show the
Yeah,
embodiment? So, at the
yeah,
heart
that's
of this
supposed to.
story is a boy whose
Yeah, that's
whole
the
heart.
tagline for that one.
Oh, that's lovely. Wow. So, you had to
Oh,
write all of these. You had to write all of these. And then
yes.
probably I guess the script, like, yeah. And then you have images of how do I want to show this, right? How do I want to
Mhm.
portray this to people?
Yeah, because I also direct my own scripts too. So, but I've got to wear separate hats. At each stage, you got to focus fully on that first stage, which is the writing of it, and you get just got to come up with that concept that you're really
It's
that
very
really
immersive,
will
isn't
motivate.
it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just it has to really motivate you too to write it. I mean, it's just if it's
Absolutely.
something if it's something that you just kind of half-heartedly do, it's obviously it's going to show in the final product.
Right.
Um, but
The
yeah, so
second, is it Date for Size, the second?
the second short film in
Let's
that,
have a look at the image. Wow.
and that this one deals with actually it's based on a real life rare genetic disease which is called progeria.
Oh my goodness.
Progeria is Hutchinson's disease, which is
Okay.
a rapid aging. So
That's so
I don't know if you've heard.
sad.
It is so the thing is that I wanted to do something that was so visual and so mesmerizing to on a film that would also subtextually it would also tell the story of yeah of not like you said mentioned sense of belonging, but also of not reaching your goals at a certain age, because
Right.
these people that are born with these progeria, they actually die. You know, their mortality, it's no longer than 20 years old. So they die at a very young age,
So
unfortunately.
like Benjamin
Uh,
Button, kind of that sort of thing.
it is, but even though the way David Fincher did that story, it's really kind of convoluted in the way he did it. But anyways, this one's just straight. It, it it's only a 7 minute short. It actually I actually wrote the script, the feature length script to it. What this
Wow.
was Date for Psy was actually a proof of concept for
Okay.
the feature.
Okay.
So I packaged the scripts, the feature with the film that I shot to prospective buyers or development executives
Very good.
to actually make the film, you know, to hopefully give me some kind of private equity or some kind of money to for me to
To
direct it.
actually create a feature. Yeah.
Great feature, yeah. So this is just a smidgen of a day in the life of Sai is the the main character, but he
Oh
actually
my God.
wants to go to his prom. Like, so his senior prom, he doesn't know if he's going to live to that day, right?
Oh
Because
my God, that's
yeah,
crazy. But 20 years is probably a good life. You've done well if you make it to 20, probably, right? With that disease. So
yeah. I mean,
yeah, you're
it
barely
is, but
driving
still,
and
yeah. But still, it talks about the loneliness because he's been rejected socially because he wants to have it. He can't find a date for the prom, which
wow.
actually is another, you know, another theme I'm talking about in my a running theme through my films is just
Hmm.
getting that acceptance, female acceptance and female rejection in this case.
Hurts,
But
man.
it hurts, yeah. But also it also deals with ageism because sometimes,
True.
you know, we're at at certain levels of our lives where we're kind of like factored out of
Yeah.
even jobs or careers or even
Or we
socially.
factor
Like
ourselves out too sometimes, right? Like we're like,
we
oh, I
do, yeah.
couldn't do that. But like, actually, you can, right? Like,
Yeah. I'm
it's
guilty of that
amazing.
myself.
Like,
Yeah.
people can find their path at 60. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, totally. Exactly. So, and that's where the impetus was for creating this side character with this progeria, because I have no firsthand experience with that disease. I just read up about it. So I did a lot of research on it online. But
Wow.
so these are the things
God.
I do. I create these characters that are from my personal experiences dealing with these themes, universal
Right.
themes of loneliness and being single, but also sense of belonging and acceptance and female companionship, searching for it. And then I just try to surround that theme or that subject matter with
Right.
something so visual, like something so filmic that the audiences will can not well not really relate to it in a way, but can be mesmerized by watching this. They say, "Oh, this is something new."
Yes.
Try to try to look for that unique angle,
Right.
you know, in everything, right, in my
And
films. And
something
I've
that,
never
like,
seen a
if you pass by like scenes of it, you want to sit down and watch because you're like, this is intriguing,
right,
right? Because
yeah.
it's like, it's
So
not your everyday life. Like,
right, yeah. So yeah, comparison would be for a feature film that was made through Hollywood would be, and this is from it's called Wonder with Julia Roberts, and I think the main character in that he's a Canadian actor,
okay,
um,
awesome.
Jacob. I forget his last name, but
Hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of that film.
I think I should probably look
Owen
it up.
Wilson
That sounds good.
Owen Wilson
Oh,
is the
awesome.
father. Julia Roberts plays the mother, but
Hmm.
it's about a young kid, you know, preteens who was grown. He was born with a disfigured face, and so he's dealing with this at school, at his school,
Oh my
and with his
God.
teachers. And so it talks about this sense of belonging and talks about this loneliness and talks about,
Wow.
yeah, just trying to connect with your fellow human beings. So
Yeah,
that
it's
would be
amazing how
a direct comparison to Date for Side. But
that's a better, yeah, I had no idea. That sounds interesting though, because did you see Wonder after you made your film?
actually, I can't remember what year was Wonder came out in 2019, I believe.
Oh, so
I produced,
recently.
yeah, within the last 5 years or so. But anyways, yeah, Date for Side, the short version that's in four singles was produced in 2020, so it was a year after.
Okay.
But yeah, I think during that time but I was writing the feature at the same time too. So yeah, I
It's
did watch that film just to see what perspective they used, but it's actually based on a book.
absolutely. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean to have such major actors interested in this
yeah,
and for them to make, that's amazing. That's because you want there to
yeah,
be like, is there an interest? So that would be a yes. Because someone pitched it, someone believed in it, they bankrolled the money. Like that's great. I want to show the slide for replication revisited. So this is the third in
that's
the series.
third, yes, and is actually something that once again dealing with a man, the male is protagonist, and actually I play the part in it. I don't
That's
like to be
perfect.
acting.
No,
Yeah, I don't. I'm
you
not.
should. It's perfect.
But it wasn't a whole lot of a stretch for me, but I don't like seeing myself on film, or a lot. I don't like seeing myself in a film or a video after the fact, because
It's
I'm
hard.
also
I know
it's
what you
tough because
mean.
I'm also directing it, so I've got to think about the direction as well as the acting at the same time. Once again, it deals with a man who loses his wife to to a condition, probably a cancerous condition. It doesn't say. It's not important. It's just that
Right.
it's a loss of life, a loss of a female part or love partner. He's single, and but he wants to bring her back. And the way technology is nowadays, and the way some of these films are made with the premises
Because
of
it's
trying
just
to.
like you're kind of like hovering on the like it could happen that you could maybe replicate like that could be a
It is,
possibility. So you're kind of
yeah,
dancing on the edge of like possibility,
yeah. So once again, I took a human story of loneliness and
like
loss,
that loss. Yeah.
and trying to incorporate it within a genre. This one is actually a sci-fi fantasy, more fantasy than, but it also in a way sci-fi. But I won't give away the film, the ending, because
Yeah.
it's a bit of a surprise ending to it. Um, but it does have to do with where we in the world, especially here in the Western Hemisphere, we're definitely going towards the creating humanoids and
Yeah.
robots that are lifelike.
Yes.
And so I mean films have been trying to showcase this. And like I mean one of my favorite films for this is Blade Runner,
The
where it's
original.
all about the original. Yeah, I saw the 2049, which I didn't so much like,
Yeah, no one
but it's
really
talking
talked
about.
about it. So I was like, it probably wasn't as incredible as the original one.
No,
Because they
no.
created a whole world. Like they had to create a world.
Oh, it was amazing the way the world was. But I love just the fact that these replicants, which are these created beings,
I like
they
that
don't
word
have a
replicant.
soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have a
They
soul or a
they don't
spirit
have a
or
soul.
anything, but they want to live. They somehow they develop and they evolve to actually want to live as a human being. Um, so that was so intriguing for me, that concept.
So
But this,
intriguing.
so replication is based loosely on that, but it's also about a man trying to bring his wife back,
Right.
and but like with through a doppelganger. I don't know if I'm saying that right. A
Yeah.
doppelganger,
Yeah, I
that
think you
German.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
So
it's a funny word, but everybody uses it. So I think you're saying it
doppelganger.
correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Doppelganger.
so I'll just leave it at that. That's how he
Yeah, because
replicates.
we want people to actually see it. So, and then
Yeah.
AI is the fourth image I want to show.
Yeah. It's the final film. I'm not really.
Altruistic. Individuals.
altruistic. So
Oh.
it's a play on the
Oh.
word, it's a play on the acronym AI. It's
Mhm.
not a true um so it's not artificial intelligence, but so what it is really, it's another story about a human condition of not so much singleness or not so much loneliness. This time the male protagonist, actually it's a female protagonist in this one. This is the one where I try to extend myself and create a script where the female was
Very
at the
good.
forefront of the
That's
story.
very
And
good. Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's really
and
smart. Wow.
yeah, and it was a challenge for me to write something where the actress could also find, like, it's believable, but also how does the mind and the emotional makeup of a female, how do they kind of react and how do they verbalize? Because there's a couple heavy dramatic scenes where they have dialogue in it.
Mhm.
Um, so to me, it was a challenge to create a female character that was very individual, but also very kind of loving, and also inclusive in the relationship with with the male, the male
And
partner.
authentic, right? Really authentic. You wanted to make sure
Yeah,
that people could absolutely, "Oh, yeah, I see
yeah.
myself in that person." Did
So
she,
where
like,
sorry?
did she understand did she get it right what you wanted to convey? Was she able to
I think so. I
yeah,
mean, I hired an actress who's actually fairly new into the country, within the last 5 years. She's PR,
okay.
like a permanent resident. She comes from Ukraine. I don't. It was this was after the war, and
Sure.
but she pursued acting, and she still does it. And but she, I wanted to make the thing is, I wanted to make this film diverse because unfortunately, not unfortunate, but I didn't do this deliberately or consciously. All of my other films have always been with whites in it, and I didn't mean to do that on purpose, or I
Right.
wasn't trying
That just
to. It
happened to
was
be who
not.
you chose to yeah.
Yeah, because they were the ones who brought the best kind of audition, and they were the ones who delivered the best performance for those characters that I wrote.
And that's what you were looking
And
for. Why
yeah,
wouldn't you
so
choose them? Of course.
I'm colorblind in that respect. This
Yeah,
one
that's okay.
I consciously made an effort to hire a diverse cast. So both the male, as you see in that poster, both the male and the female, they are
Wow.
of a diverse ethnic background. And so, but they did
Incredible.
do justice to the script and the characters. But to answer your question, yeah, I mean, the female actress, we did a table read of the scripts prior to filming, and uh, when you hear it out loud for the first time with those characters that you wrote in the script, um, it
It's incredible.
you really understand that. Did you connect? Did For me as a writer, I had to ask myself personally, did I connect with that female character the way I wanted it to, or
Right.
did I elicit those kind of emotions I wanted to? And it was a great time, that table read, to for her to present any questions that I needed to
That's true.
know. And then yeah, after that, it was so helpful because after that table read, I just went back to my writing table and rewrote anything that I had to, or change anything that I had to.
That's
The
amazing.
structure was always there. Like, I'm
Right.
always solid with my structure, the story structure. It's just those little elements, those specific elements of the characters. They
Right.
have to ring true
Like
so that
nuance.
audiences
That
can really connect and empathize with those, but
that's
also like on a
powerful. 'Cause it's
yeah,
like
but
your baby,
also
like your it's like your baby. So if you see it
totally.
enacted, like it's amazing because you're like, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted you to convey. That's what I wanted you to get. Like
Right.
it's like it must be amazing, like as a director,
It is.
you know,
It is,
because you're
yeah.
so
It
involved in all of it, that those are your words, like these are your images in your mind, like this is who I want to, bring life to this character, right?
Yeah. And
It
yeah, it's
must
so
be amazing.
satisfying. It's very fulfilling, and, it kinda, it's actually a test, for me. Am I on the right path here? Have I chosen the right career path?
Right.
Can I
How did
can I
that
write?
feel? It must have felt right,
So
right?
it did feel right, but it's also very humbling because I just sometimes I look back and you've heard of this term, imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
Sometimes I think, man,
We
I
feel
have
that.
no right to be doing this.
Oh my god, that's just it's so apparently 30% of CEOs feel that, and they're CEOs who got those jobs, who live those lives.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we are totally,
mhm,
completely allowed to feel that in our lives because
yeah.
it's so human to
It
be
is, and
like
so that validation of being a filmmaker that has a vision that people are on board for. Yeah, I mean that really, and I'm devoid
yes.
of ego, totally.
Yeah,
Like
you
for
really
me,
are.
yeah,
You really are.
it's not about me being this next big hotshot kind of film director.
Right.
No,
I don't see
I
that in you
want
at all.
I want
Nope.
these stories. Yeah, I want these films to resonate so much with the audiences,
Mhm.
and I want to be so much in the background that when somebody watches one of my films, I want them to say, "Wow, that was really well done." Like, and then they say, "Who made that? I wonder who's the writer director of that." But I just want those characters to really shine through to the
Right.
audience and to really ring through true to
Yeah.
them, and so that I just take a back seat and I just look at it objectively, and I can say I did my job,
Yes.
if I get
God.
if I get that
What
kind
an
of
amazing
praise from
job,
audience.
though. Isn't it such a great job?
It's great. It can be harrowing sometimes, like, I mean, yeah, it's taxing sometimes, right?
It's
Because I'm wearing
grueling.
so much. I'm also producing most of these as well, right? So,
God.
wow, it's like you got writer, director, producer, and then, this last film, I edited all by myself too, so
Wow.
that was
So editing too.
that was a huge undertaking,
Yeah,
but,
wow.
uh yeah, but I felt that I was the right person to edit this one, like, I took the reins fully on this one. The first 3, I'm always sitting in with the editor because 'cause I'm
Yeah,
always the guy looking at each scene individually and trying to
right,
see if each scene, fits well together, but also the whole thing as a whole. Does it work as a
right.
whole and where I can make some changes? So, this one was me, totally 100% me just looking at it and me being my worst critic as a picture editor. But that it benefited me because I knew that, to knowing that I was gonna be the editor, the picture editor, so that on set, when I was on set on those production days, I knew what angles I needed to make those scenes
That's
work.
what
I
I
knew.
was wondering, because you can okay, I need the light coming in at this angle, so it has to be this time, and then we need everybody here facing that way, like, all of that, like, you're seeing it, and they're trying to come into your mind a bit and see, okay, he wants it this way, so we're gonna have this kind of a feeling, or we're gonna have this kind of a mood, or an ambiance, or an atmosphere, because
Yeah,
they're
I
trying
mean,
to produce it in real life, and yeah, it must be an indescribable feeling when everything just aligns and
yeah, but it all starts with that script. I mean, if it's not on the page, it ain't on the stage, as that saying goes. Like, if the script is not there, and if it hasn't been honed enough,
okay.
so that when you go to the set, when you go to the production, location, because I have no time to make any changes,
No,
when I'm on because, thankfully, this one I had a budget for, I had a
I'm
grant that
glad.
I was provided
I'm
for,
glad. Thank God.
and so I paid the cast and crew, and it wasn't out of my own pocket, which,
That's amazing. That's the
yeah,
way it
it was
should be.
it should be,
We have to
yeah.
get you more of that.
Yeah. So
Let me show the 4 singles. So this is, so the 4 it's like 4 almost 4 chapters, 4,
right,
episodes, kind of that kind of thing,
right,
and they would be in that order that we showed them, right? And then how
that's
did you
right.
meet these, this is amazing, I love this. So how did you meet
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, Dark Dragon Royalty, they kinda came on board, after everything was well, obviously, these films were made over the course of,
Perfect.
maybe 3 or 4 years. Um, I sent them I sent, well, the one one fellow in particular,
Hmm.
he's an American, North Carolina. He's a
Excellent.
filmmaker, yeah, filmmaker himself. So he does the writing and directing. He has like
Wow.
an official, legit company, production
Good.
company that was looking like worldwide for some new filmmakers who had some content that he wanted to promote.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, like yeah, it was just the timing was perfect. Like, I mean, personally, I think that my timing is way off, but this
But
time
it
it
turned out
really
okay.
aligned.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
stars aligned this time for me.
Because
And
I feel
thank
like
and he,
sometimes our timing doesn't take into account all the other players that need to be in it, right? So
yeah,
so what might be right for me, I don't know the people that I'm going to be working with. And so how could I possibly know what their timeline is? But if it aligns, that's like the best
yeah.
feeling because,
The thing
then
is,
they're like, "Oh, you're available now? Okay, great. Let's do this," right? Kind of thing.
yeah. And the thing with me, and this is a bit of insight, me personally, my character, I'm an introvert by nature, so it takes a lot out of me to kind of make myself known or to get myself
Wow.
out there to make myself known. But I knew I had to in this industry. You have to. You
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
live or die by it, right? So
Yeah.
the
I'm
network,
really
the
glad that
networking,
like you agreed to come on my show because, I like to shine a light on people who are really living their purpose and wanting to make an impact. And I think that's exactly what you're doing. And so many people relate to like social anxiety and all these kinds of
mhm.
feelings because they're absolutely real and they can be crippling and they can be lifelong. So you're doing so much
Yeah,
good.
and the pandemic didn't help at all.
No.
Everybody was
Oh
so
my
self-contained.
goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Oh
thankfully
no.
we're out of that, and hopefully, I know we haven't seen the end of it. I mean, it's still around, the disease and the variants, but,
Yeah.
but
I think
we're getting on with, yeah,
like at least we got to go back to our lives,
yeah.
It'd be really hard to if it wasn't like imagine if we didn't have internet or electricity.
No,
That
no,
would not be
no,
okay.
no, that's
That
right,
would
like,
not
we
be
could
that would
definitely,
be crazy, right? So absolutely. But yeah, thank
yeah,
you so much
but
for taking the time. I just want to show I just love this dark dry. I
yeah,
love that. That brand is just
so
beautiful.
this is the distribution arm of his company, and he wanted to package. He has the final completed film in his possession, and he's going to be
Wow.
releasing it online. It's going to be streaming, hopefully by the end of the year. But this is
Okay.
also another way of me generating some kind of income stream,
Yes.
which I thought I signed a contract. It was a
Absolutely.
legit contract,
Good.
and so he has the worldwide rights for 10 years, which I didn't
Wow.
mind relinquishing. I mean, I have the copyright. I still hold that copyright,
That's great.
but
That's great.
the
Yeah, you're
rights
smart.
to the film distribution of it, 10 years. So yeah, no, he was a great man to get
And
involved in
collaborate with.
and
Yeah. And he understands what it's
collaborate with.
like to have this vision and to make it come true. It's extraordinary.
Yeah,
So,
especially as
yeah.
independent filmmakers. And the thing
Yeah.
too is it's an entrepreneurial spirit. Like, I mean, we are entrepreneurs as independent filmmakers. Because
We
we have
really
to go
are.
out there. Yeah, we got to go out there.
We're
We've got to
marketers.
showcase, market. Yeah,
Yeah.
market. Yeah,
We're
exactly.
marketers. Like it's so but it's great that we have like places that we can show our work and yeah, if you ever one day, like if it's ever available and you can send a link, then I can attach the link to like the show notes. And then that way from there on, like if somebody would like to see some of your work, if that's ever possible. But I'm so
Yeah,
glad that we met
for
and
sure.
so glad we could talk today. And I really hope it was fun for you too. I learned a lot and I can't imagine directing, writing, producing, editing. Like, oh my goodness, that's just unbelievable. But
It
for an
just
introvert, my God,
yeah,
you were out of your comfort zone. But that's
for
where the
sure.
fun is, though, right? So,
Yeah, totally. For sure. And I'm doing this as an unrepresented. I'm not represented by any kind of agent or manager.
right.
Even though I have tried for that here in Canada. I don't know what I'm doing wrong or what I'm not doing right or whatever.
Maybe it's just
It's tough.
timing too, like, you never know, right? So,
Yeah.
but, so
I've reached out
appreciate.
to so many.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
over. It's not over. I've heard, it's always alright in the end, and if it's not alright, it's not the end, and I really, really, really believe that. So, this could be the beginning. So, but yeah, I'm so happy for you that you're able to live your dream, and we just have to make it pay, that's all. So,
Yeah,
but,
that's the thing,
thank you
right?
so much for your time. It's just been such a pleasure to meet with you and to talk with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really
thanks,
we're
Sue.
friends
Thanks
now.
again.
We're friends, so, like, it's like
Yeah, totally,
right?
totally.
Thank
Yeah, and
you.
having the
God bless.
platform
Thank you. Take good care of yourself
thank you. Take
and,
care.
keep doing this unbelievable work, and, yeah, so I have your email on the screen, so if anybody has any questions or they just wanna reach out if they have an idea or,
Right,
some way to help, Mark Anthony, he's a great guy, and, we're just trying to put our work out into the world, and so, like, let's help each other, you know? So,
right.
but thank you. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you, and
Thank
we'll talk
yeah,
talk soon, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.
bye
Thanks
now.
for watching.